As always, it is so great to be here with you. I hope you're having a great day out there and you're staying safe and healthy. Anyways, today we have another delicious Spanish recipe. We're talking a classic Spanish pasta stew with vegetables. This dish hails from the region of Murcia in southeastern Spain, which is known as un guiso de macarrones con verduras. Now the beauty of this recipe is that it's a one-pan pasta stew, which means the pasta gets cooked with the rest of the ingredients. That way the starch in the pasta stays in the stew, which gives it the most incredible textures and flavors, folks. This recipe is very easy to make. It's got so many beautiful flavors to it, and it's the perfect dish for a chilly day as it's gonna warm your soul. Let's begin by grabbing a large deep fry pan. You can also use a stock pot here. Heat it with a medium heat and add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 30 milliliters. Now the vegetables I'm going to use to make this recipe are the typical ones that are used to make this dish in the region of Murcia, but in reality, you can use whatever vegetables you have on hand. The secret, make sure when you cut your vegetables that you cut them into larger chunks. You don't want to finely dice them, as by cutting them in larger chunks, it really adds more texture to the stew. After heating the olive oil for 2 minutes, I'm going to add in half of an onion that I roughly chopped, half of a green and red bell pepper that I roughly chopped, 2 carrots that I thinly sliced, and 4 cloves of garlic that I roughly chopped. And we'll mix the vegetables around, that way they're all coated in the olive oil, and you don't have to mix this continuously, but do get in there every minute or so, that way the vegetables don't brown too quickly and they all evenly saute. After about 5 minutes and the onion is nice and translucent and the rest of the vegetables lightly sauteed, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of sweet smoked Spanish paprika, which is 2.30 grams. And we'll give this a quick mix, that way the paprika is evenly coating all the vegetables. Then I'm going to add in half a cup of tomato sauce, which is 115 grams. The tomato sauce that I'm using, I made by finely grating tomatoes, but you can also use canned tomato sauce or passata. And we'll give this a quick mix and simmer it for a couple minutes. After about 3 minutes and the tomato sauce has slightly thickened up, I'm going to add in 2 potatoes, or you can use 1 large potato that's been peeled and washed and cut into small pieces that are ½ inch thick, which is 1 1/4 centimeters. I'm also going to add in half a cup of white wine, which is 120 milliliters. You can substitute the wine for the same amount of broth with a couple drops of lemon juice. And we'll season everything with sea salt and freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll turn up the heat from a medium heat to a high heat. And we'll give this a quick mix and simmer it for a couple minutes or until all the alcohol in the white wine has been cooked off. Now the potatoes I'm using in this recipe are new potatoes. You want to use potatoes here that are more waxy than starchy. That way when you cook them, they don't get mushy and they keep their shape. After about 3 minutes and the alcohol has been cooked off in the white wine, I'm going to add in 5 cups of vegetable broth, which is 1 liter plus 200 milliliters. The broth that I'm using is homemade. You'll find a link on how to make it in the iCard above and description box below. You can also use water here with a vegetable bouillon cube. We'll pinch in a 1/4 teaspoon of saffron threads, which is 0.17 grams. You'll find a link where you can get the saffron threads I'm using from Golden Saffron in the description box below. And we'll also add in 1 bay leaf. And we'll give this a mix, that way everything's evenly mixed together, and we're going to cook this on a high heat between 15 to 20 minutes or until those potatoes are almost perfectly cooked. After about 18 minutes, those potatoes should be cooked al dente, which means they're fully cooked through, but they still have some texture to them. You know, you can always pierce them with a toothpick, and if it easily goes in, but with some resistance, they are ready to go. For the final step, let's start cooking our pasta. I'm going to be using penne pasta for this recipe, but you can use any small pasta noodle you like. I'm going to measure out 1 cup, which is 100 grams, and add the pasta into the pan. And we're going to cook the pasta until it's perfectly cooked al dente, which is 10 minutes in my case, so make sure to check the package instructions in your pasta. And you don't have to mix this continuously, but do get in there every 2 to 3 minutes, that way the pasta doesn't stick together and it all evenly cooks. After about 10 minutes, that pasta should be perfectly cooked al dente, and as you can see, a lot of that broth has been absorbed by the pasta and the potatoes. At this point, this dish is ready to go. I'm going to remove the pan from the heat, transfer some of the stew into a shallow bowl, and we'll sprinkle it with some finely chopped parsley. Our Spanish pasta stew with vegetables is done. Un guiso de macarrones con verduras. Beautiful presentation, incredible aromas coming out of it. Serve this next to a crunchy baguette and a bottle of Spanish wine for the ultimate experience. Let's give it a try and see how it turned out. All right, moment of truth. Let's see how this tastes. Here we go. Absolutely delicious, and it's so hearty thanks to the starch from the pasta and the potatoes, and as for the flavors, all those vegetables, the Spanish paprika and the saffron, truly an explosion of so much goodness, folks. This is what Spanish cuisine is all about, grabbing a bounty of fresh ingredients and creating an extraordinary dish. Try this pasta stew at home, you will not believe how good it is. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, Robert Jefferson, aka the Kamakura Gardener, Martin John Matson, Jesper Halloum, Jim Owens, and Joan Killico. Again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you'd like to join me on Patreon, that way I can continue to do videos like this, you'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego. All right, folks, it's a wrap. Absolutely delicious stew. And now with the cooler weather coming, this really hits the spot. So good. Love you. See you in the next video.